Okay, picture this. It's 2022. A family is heading home from a joyous, festive wedding road trip, completely unaware that their night is about to twist into an absolute paranormal nightmare. Today, we're unpacking this deeply chilling, real-world narrative. We're going to break down exactly what happened, the incredibly dark entities involved, and most importantly, the crucial survival lessons hidden within traditional folklore. Let's get right into it.
He will kill me. They won't leave me. Now, those aren't lines cooked up by a Hollywood screenwriter. According to our source material, these were the actual, desperate words of a young girl suffering through a total, horrific possession. The dread in those words is just palpable, isn't it? So you gotta wonder, how does a completely normal family end up in a situation so incredibly grim?
Section 1. The Midnight Bus Breakdown.
So it's super late at night. A large joint family from Delhi is traveling back from a wedding. They're all decked out in their festive best, and here's a detail that becomes absolutely crucial later. They are wearing very heavy perfumes. Suddenly, out of nowhere, their rented bus suffers a mysterious technical failure and stops dead right in front of this desolate, pitch-black park. When they look outside, they see this chilling scene. There's a swing set with two women dressed entirely in white. One is swinging, the other is holding a baby. Slowly, they turn and stare right back at the bus with these incredibly creepy, glowing smiles. And then, piercing the dead silence, the baby starts to cry.
Now, inside the bus, the passengers' reactions split right down generational lines. It's actually wild. The elders, they instantly recognized the deadly nature of what they were looking at. They immediately looked down, completely refused to make eye contact, started smoking beedies, and silently recited protective prayers. But the youth, some of whom were, slightly intoxicated, did the exact opposite. They whistled, they stared right at the figures, and actually provoked them. All completely oblivious to the fact that their heavy, festive fragrances were acting like a literal magnet for something sinister.
To truly grasp the unbelievable danger they were in, we really need to define these entities based on the folklore presented in the source. Because this wasn't just some spooky run-of-the-mill sighting. That crying baby, it was identified as a dead futia, which is a terrifying 1.5-foot supernatural entity. The two women were Trudales, basically witches. And later on, spiritual experts diagnosed that a massive 7-foot jinn was actually commanding all of them. In this cultural folklore, these negative entities are known to actively hunt at night, specifically targeting humans who are emotionally vulnerable or, again, wearing heavy scents.
Which brings us to Section 2, Arushi's terrifying possession.
Amazingly, the family actually managed to get the bus started, and they fled that night. Realizing the grave danger they had just brushed past, the elders mandated a protective temple visit for the very next day. And everyone went, except for Arushi. She was a teenage neighbor traveling with them who had been heavily perfumed on the bus. By missing that one crucial temple blessing, her spiritual defenses were completely compromised. Her family later tried to protect her by having a pandit tie a sacred Kalawa thread around her wrist. But get this, in the middle of the night, while everyone else's threads held strong, Arushi's physically rotted and fell right off her arm. The entities had breached her defenses, and it led directly to a total demonic possession.
This source details this horrifying timeline of her physical and mental deterioration, and it is just brutal. On the very first night, she's hit with a relentless 104-degree fever. By night 3, the possession turns completely violent. Her mother reports that Arushi is vomiting these foul black and green substances and literally trying to crawl up the walls. By day 7, the physical toll is just devastating. In just one single week, this young girl loses 15 kilograms, her hair falls out, she loses her teeth, and tragically, she passes away.
We really have to emphasize the sheer terrifying power of these entities here. During the desperate attempts to save her, the entities actually spoke directly through Arushi, stating, "This girl is our property, we will take her." They openly mocked and challenged a highly skilled tantric, who ultimately had to admit he just couldn't defeat them. They completely shocked Amalvi, who recognized the immense power of the jinn and immediately backed away. And most chillingly of all, the pandit who initially tried to help was struck and killed in a mysterious hit-and-run accident before he could even perform a rescue ritual. No way that's a coincidence, right?
Section 3, A Mother's Dark Magic.
You'd think the horror ended with Arushi's passing, right? Well, no. The neighborhood continued to be violently haunted, with people literally hearing her screaming in the dead of night. When an expert was brought back in to investigate, he uncovered a really dark truth.
Arushi's grieving mother, completely unable to let go of her daughter, had secretly used forbidden dark tantric rituals to bind her deceased daughter's spirit to their home. In her desperate, heartbreaking attempt to keep her child close, she accidentally shattered all the spiritual defenses the entire neighborhood had put up, unleashing absolute chaos onto everyone around them.
Okay, so what does this all mean for us? Section 4. Late-night travel warnings.
Listen closely, because this story isn't just shared to scare us. The core of this explainer is about practical, generational safety warnings that are literally meant to be life-saving. If you're traveling late at night, avoid wearing heavy perfumes or colognes. The folklore explicitly warns that these fragrances act as a beacon, attracting dark entities. Keep your hair tied up rather than flowing loose, especially in desolate areas. Always travel in groups. And perhaps most importantly, do not wander around alone at night if you are depressed, heartbroken, or emotionally weak, because that makes you a prime, easy target. And finally, respect the folklore of the elders. When they tell you to look away from something in the dark, you look away.
It is absolutely vital to remember that this is not some ancient myth from centuries ago. This happened in 2022. It happened to a normal family just like any other, driving down a road just like any other. It proves exactly why these practical, generational warnings for late-night travel remain highly relevant today.
We've explored this deadly intersection of modern carelessness and ancient predators, and we've seen how insanely fast spiritual defenses can fall when traditional safety warnings are ignored. So, as you sit there and digest the sheer horror of Arushi's story and the entities just waiting in the dead of night, let me leave you with one final thought. Do you feel like someone is watching you right now?